You foos to the judge. You foos to your long down. You foos back to basic. It's foos, 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 foos. Here's what happens in trials. There's 3 things that happens to trials with dogs. The first thing is, usually dogs do this. Foos, sit, Platz, please stay, bring, please. They're losing drive. Other things happen where a dog builds drive throughout the trial. Fuß, and the dog's getting more excited. Sit, Platz, but now your dog has its first reward on a dumbbell. So I was judging in some state, I don't remember where, and this lady had 2 dogs, very high drive shepherds, and you can see the dogs building. I mean, they were just building drive as the trial. She went to the first dog. She was trying the first dog for a 1, and the second one, I think, for a 1 also. And she went, aus, aus. And I said, ma'am, you have 1 more out command to get that dog to let go of this dumbbell. And the dog didn't let go. I said, I'm sorry. Termination. The dog built so high, it's like, I worked so hard, I'm not giving this at all. Guess what her second dog did? The exact same thing. So I'm like, this is not a dog problem. These are 2 high drive shepherds. So I asked her afterwards. She was constantly paying the dog on the dumbbell, which she was doing this. Yes, and throwing the ball. When she didn't, the dog was thinking that was an equitable reward. This is my first reward. I'm not giving this up because this is the first payment. How about this? Let's talk about tracking. I'm going to side note and come back to that. I would never do a Schutz 1 if I've never put food on a track, ever. So what I do is the track is 100, 100, 100, right? So it's 100 or 50 article, 50 corner, 50 article, 50 corner, 100 paces, then the article. So I go 80, 80, 80. I just want to see where I don't pay on articles 1 and 2. So first leg I don't pay. Second, and they're only 80 paces. It's a shorter track than a true one. On the third article, I pay, and then I have a whole nother track connected to that track with food. I want to see where am I without paying on article 1, without paying on article 2. Is my dog going to get to the scent pad and there's not food there and say, you said souk, but this is not how we normally do it. So there are times I will do it in complete trial routine. Everybody has heard this example that trains out here, but it's worth reiterating. I don't know if Fred and Steve have. They have the migrant workers out here, and we used to have a lot of peaches in this area. They did the study. I'm not condoning studies on humans, but they wanted to see what yielded the most amount of peaches from the migrant workers. So they had 4 groups, and this study was in the 1970s. Group A, they paid you at the end of each tree. So you had this sack of coins, and they waited and paid, and you keep working as you're getting paid. Group B was the end of a row. Group C, the end of a 20-acre parcel. And Group D was the end of harvest. So it was the end of harvest. You know what yielded the least amount of peaches? The one after each tree. You're like, I just did that whole tree and I got 15 cents. The second least was the end of harvest. The reward was too far away. They couldn't say. The most was the row, and the second most was the end of the 20-acre parcel. So that was the order. I will not pay my dog sometimes until after harvest. You're going to get paid. But which toy am I going to give you your highest one? Let's say it's the jute tug. That is your highest one because that work was so much. If I'm giving it to the end of the row, I might be giving you cucumber. So you're still getting a reward. But what do I want my dog to do? I want my dog to build drive as the trial continues, but still maintain itself. So almost always with my young dogs, I'm not talking about my older dogs, I pay the front half with food and the back half with toy. Almost always. I have to build my toy drive as much as it can be. So, if, let's say Steve was my ball person at the end of the trial. I shake the judge's hand here, I get the critiques. Steve already knows this. To meet me back there, I go back there. He gives me the ball without seeing, and I go spin behind and I pay him. I pay him by going right back there. He got paid. It was at the end of harvest. He doesn't know why. Like, I don't know why it was such a delay. That is very important for me that I don't just put my dog in the box. So they were like, hey, I worked a long time, but and we play a lot back there right after the critique. Guess what my very next session is? I take my dog to basic position. I wait just like a trial, and now I'm paying you at the end of each tree. Yes. Yes, I'm paying you. Pay. I'll take 10 steps forward, spin behind, play. I have to kind of erase that harvest one. Now I'm paying you a whole bunch. What is most of my training? I'm paying you at the end of each row, almost always. So what does a row look like for me in dog sport? Maybe on my about turn, or change of pace, or in the group. First payment. When's my second payment? After the sit. Third payment, either on the plots or the front and finish. Fourth payment, on my stand. So that's most of, and it's good payments. I mean, it's a lot of payment. It's not just, here's a piece of kibble. But if you don't have a charged marker, when you say yes, if your dog does not explode and want to interact, you're lacking something in your training. You're lacking your food drive, which means your dog has to be more disciplined in its hunger. It has to be more exciting, because food can get boring. It can get boring. I feed my dog 6 days a week. I feed Inukshuk, and it has 770 calories per cup, I believe it is. Not enough people look at the calories. So I feed very little. So my dogs are always hungry. If I could feed polar bear milk, I would. Because it has a lot of calories. So I'll feed food that has... does anybody feed raw in here? Raw? I think raw is the best diet, but I don't like raw for training. But I think it's the best for the dogs. Like, was it Nero, that Roddy there? Or was it Johnny? One of Charlie's dogs. No, it wasn't Nero, it was Johnny. This dog was getting filet mignon all the time, so to speak. Like, not real filet mignon, but...
Oh, I was going to say, wow.
So to speak. It was green tripe. He was just getting the best food and a lot of it. So getting him to track for a hot dog or something like that was a joke. No. He's like, I'm getting all this for doing nothing. You want me to work for cheese? So I said, Charlie, I got to put him on kibble. That's the one I got 100 at the World Championships in tracking.
Right.
I got to feed him kibble. And Charlie's like, I hate kibble. I'm like, you just got to trust me. It's 6 months. Then you can have him back on raw when you get home. So Jane saw it when I was in Canada with him. He was not tracking. Remember that dog?
Nope.